Now, Mr. President, fixing the police is essential. This is what violence monitor Mary De Haas says in an open letter to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Professor De Haas is in her in-depth letter, speaks about the violation of human rights, incompetence and corruption within the police department, which she says dates back decades. She's appealing to Ramaphosa to intervene, investigate and halt any permanent appointments. The president is considering at least 5 candidates to become National Police Commissioner, as Kehlas Chole's last day in office is today. Let's unpack this with Professor De Haas now, who joins us now virtually. Prof, thank you very much for your time here on All Angles. Just explain to me your advice that the president does not make a permanent appointment for National Police Commissioner just yet. Do you believe there must be some sort of investigations first?
Indeed, I do, because for years now there have been irregular promotions. People who aren't even properly qualified have been jumping from being a clerk to being a colonel to being a general. And at the same time, so you've got people in management who need to be checked out. Are they qualified for the job? Have they been irregularly promoted? I'm sitting with a huge amount of documentation given to me by police members who've been caught up, because the other side of the coin is that competent police members are being completely sidelined. They are also being victimized. For example, if they take a strand, the police take an oath of office that they will report corruption, whoever is involved. You do that, the least that will happen to you is a lack of promotion. The most that will happen to you is dismissal, unfair labour practice, illegal dismissals. This is exactly what's happened now to a very dedicated, very senior administrator in the Free State, Patricia Mashali. She's been there for years. She's been going through legal channels, telling, for example, handing a dossier on firearms to the Hawks, sending a letter to the National Commissioner about irregular promotions. And then the victimization started in earnest last year. Her life's in danger. She has been irregularly, her phone was hacked. She's been irregularly dismissed. And to make matters worse, I've complained to Parliament about this. The National Commissioner's Office, or their spokesperson, is saying, well, there was a disciplinary hearing, and these disciplinary hearings are irregular. They're expeditious hearings brought on pretexts that can be found to be untrue. And when these members, when the lawyer actually represents them, shows them that they're innocent, the police still don't reinstate them. In this case with Mashali, who's been given whistleblower status by the Human Rights Commission and is in the eye of international human rights people because of the threats to her life for doing her job. That's all. They've even sent to Parliament, when I complained to Parliament about it, they say, well, there was an expeditious hearing and she didn't stay for the whole hearing, which is nonsense. She never went to the hearing because the Human Rights Commission had pointed out they had no right to bring it. The whole thing was irregular, and I can tell you one of the key departments is the Human Resources Department. And to think that the head of the Human Resources Department is now even being considered as a National Commissioner, that is General Zuma. It's unbelievable. It's irregular. Gross.
And Prof, I believe your other concern also is that so far, all the people who have been appointed as National Commissioner, there's, I believe you say there's they have political links as well, and that should stop.
Oh, indeed. Look, one of the reasons that Sithole was targeted was he was appointed by Zuma, and that he was actually, there's a number of people in senior management whose promotions go back to Ace Magashula, to the acting commissioner Pashlani, who took political instructions. They've been fast-tracked. It can be shown that they, in one case that Mashali drew attention to, for example, this guy had been promoted from brigadier to general. It was an arbitration hearing was held. And then the arbitration confirmed he'd been irregularly promoted. He had to pay back the money from the time he'd spent as a general. And he was appointed by the Human Resources Department to chair a disciplinary hearing into the very person who reported his irregular promotion. So, I mean, this has been going on, but at the same time, and this has been going on for years, these irregular promotions. I mean, questions are asked about virtually all the senior management, of how they were fast-tracked either years ago or in recent years.
Prof, speaking about, the fact that people had have this opinion that Ketla Tole was targeted because his appointment was by the former president, you also mentioned in your letter your concern in terms of police in KZN who still support the former president.
Well, yeah, this information came from a particular urban station, which was given in confidence, and that's why I'm not naming the station, to a CPF member, that last July there were a few dozen police who refused to act because they supported Zuma. This was during the looting, and they even intimidated their colleagues. Now, I mean, that was in Durban, so I mean, I think this was quite widespread. The problem is, and I've been documenting this, the politicization of policing, the people integrated. I used to say in the 90s, please, we don't want IFP police because that's what we had then. We don't want ANC police. And this is what's happened. We've got political appointees, so-called MK people, bodyguards, politicians. The police have been politicized. And that's an example of it in KZN. In the Free State, they're Ace Makashula people, you see. So I think this was part of the targeting of Sithole because he was seen as one of those appointments, but there's a whole lot more, I can tell you that. And I must also point out one other thing, which is crucial, that this is still going on. The very same General Vuma, the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, and I can show you correspondence where I've pointed out the gross violations in human resources, that the same Vuma sent around a circular a few months back saying, right, if you are a clerk, if you are a reservist, you can apply for transfer to operational. So I say to the person who drew this to my attention, well, what sort of training do these people get? And he tells me 5 months. 5 months training, and some of them not only get transferred, they get promoted above long-serving members. I mean, I think this is a crisis that has to be addressed.
Thank you so much, Prof. I think that's quite
Imagine what it does for the morale of these long-serving police who go out. And the other thing is the top-heavy structure. 200 generals, 400 brigadiers, costing us R1 billion a year. We could have 20 constables for one general. And that's what we need. We need the feet on the ground.
Well, thank you very much for your insights. Very passionate there. Thank you for your time. Professor De Haas, she's from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and she is a violence monitor there.